Good afternoon, everyone. I am TR. I am the host of Masculinity, Blessing, or Curse. I am so excited today because I have two young men that I've known these guys, well, for a few years. They were little boys. But now, as you can see from the screen, they are grown men, and I will have them introduce yourself. In my podcast, what I try to do is to develop some connection between what I like to call the Moses generation, that is, people like myself, connecting to the Joshua generation. Of course, if you know from biblical context, Moses, though he led the children of Israel across the wilderness, he was not able to go into the promised land. But he was very proficient about planting seeds in Joshua, that is, the next generation. Before me, to my on the screen with me, are two young men that are in that next generation. I will let them take a turn to introduce themselves and say some things they want to talk about themselves. And in the course of the conversation that we have today, we'll talk about some of the potential differences between what they learned as a child and what they are now passing on to their children as now a father. Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go to Dusty. Well, we call him Dusty, but well, I'll let him tell it.
Good evening. Like Reverend T.I. said, he's known me since I pretty much was in diapers. Jonathan Paget. I go by JP, as most of my friends know me and call me by. I grew up with the young man on the screen as well. But we all grew up in the same church together at New Hope Missionary Baptist Church here in Tampa. I am 46. I work with the school district here in Tampa. I'm a district resource teacher, and you could say I'm second in command over the engineering program, the robotics program, uh, AI, artificial intelligence, which is new, fairly new to the district, and automotive, and a couple other little odds and ends here and there. And I've been with the school district now for 23, 24 years, and just constantly doing things. And I've been married for coming up on 18 years this summer, and I have a 16-year-old, my only one, and I let Dusty do his thing.
All right, how y'all doing, everybody? My name is DeWitt Jones, aka Mr. Jones, BKA Dusty. So, according to how you hear people call me, that's how people know me. So, if anybody call me Dusty, then that means they know me since I was yay high, since I was coming out the womb. They got some history with me. If you hear Mr. Jones, that's the more professional, or any kids that I have taught, because I am also in the education field. I teach second grade math and science. This is my 20th year teaching. Wish I had JP's years so I could be almost out the door. Uh, but it is what it is. I'm 45. Yeah, a little younger.
Getting there.
I am married as well. I have two kids, a lovely daughter, Dakota, son, Kylan. And it's been a blessing ever since they came into my life.
Amen, amen. Man, I am just so excited about this. There are some questions that I'm going to roll out, and we're kind of freelancing, whatever's on your heart. But here are a few things that I want to kind of kick us off with. First, when you think about the way you were raised, what is one of the lessons that your parents, uh, let's see, from your parents that you absolutely want to pass on to your children? Absolutely want to pass this to your kids.
Well, one thing is that I always saw my dad doing, my mom as well, but my parents are from your generation. My dad is actually 80 years old. My mother, who I lost a year and a half ago, almost, she would have been 79 this year. but always work hard. I saw them come from a house that was 2 bedrooms, and there's four of us, and the six of us would be in the house, and then they added a room, and then they added another room, and now the house is doubled, and a bathroom. The house is double the size. They still own the house.
So like you had some other apps open.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Let's see. It says, "All right, Dusty, you go ahead with that one. Let's see if we can find Jonathan."
Okay. Um, One thing I could say is that actually it's a couple of things. I've come from a single parenting home. So I was mainly raised by my mom, and we had it, economic struggle coming up, and it was one thing. Well, like I said, it's a lot of things that I just admired that stuck with me. One of the things was that my mom could have easily had us on uh, uh, government checks, the free food, what is WIC, all that kind of things of that nature. My mom didn't put my dad on child support. Not like he was a bad dad or anything like that, because he was in my life. But the point I'm getting to is that my mom said that she didn't never want to depend on handouts, never wanted to take handouts, um, because she taught me, like, hey, you don't want to be beholden to people. You don't want to have to live by other people's standards because they're doing something for you, or any kind of requirements. So it kind of instilled in me to do my thing, no matter how strong it I mean how hard it gets or whatnot. Um Also, it taught me that, hey, nobody's gonna feel for you. Like, she basically taught me the real world. The real world don't care. The world is gonna keep spinning. Everybody's gonna keep doing their thing. If taking football, like I played football, if I get cut, the next player up. If I get fired from the job, the next man coming in to do the job. The world does not care. So I had to pretty much, make sure that when I did do my job, that I was on my A game. My mom didn't care if I was going to be a garbage man. She was like, "You're going to be the best garbage man." And so that is one thing that I instill in my kids, of like, hey, I don't care what it is that you doing, you're gonna be the best at it. So work smarter, not harder. So I can go into a lot of things, but those are the ones that stuck out to me.
Um, Give me an example of how you got a 14-year-old and a
Well, he about to turn 13,
okay.
and a 11-year old.
How do you communicate something like that to that age, or is that something you have to wait till later to talk about?
I think it is. Well, I don't think you have to wait. I think it's through actions, and constant, putting it in their head. Because, see, by me being a teacher, the number one thing I had to learn with kids is patience. And we don't have that nowadays. Like, we living in a time where I call it the microwave age, where everybody wants instant gratification. They get in a relationship, they want it to be cherries and blossoms off rip. They get on a job, hey, I want to be making 200K, and it's not like that. Everything is a process. So you have to be patient with that process, and keep going. So with my kids, They just like every other kid. They done heard it, but sometimes it's in the ear and not the other. But if I keep saying it, having the patience, not getting mad and everything, keep saying it, and showing through my own actions and telling them, hey, you remember such and such? You asked me, Daddy, why you keep doing such and such? And now you see why. Look what happened now. You see what I'm doing now, or what happened, or how I'm able to get you this thing that you wanted because I kept doing X Y Z. You know, so it's one thing to tell a kid, but when they see it come to fruitation, that's the lesson in itself. So I think it's pretty much just through repetition and by actions.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yes, it's show, and then you can really tell it because they see it, and then you become the actual example. Now, the flip side of that question is there something that maybe your parents did, your mother did, that well, I'm that doesn't work for me today, or I didn't like that then. I'm not going to carry that. I'm not going to bring that to my parenting role. Is there something like that?
Oh yes, number one, number one, and I'm pretty sure with Jonathan get on here. Number one, I allow my kids to talk in response to whatever it is that I might be getting on their case for, or corrected or whatever. But the number one thing, and like you said in your Moses era, is uh don't talk back to me. And it's like I'm not talking back. I just want to explain myself so you can understand that that's not what you thinking. You know, you had this perception that I did XYZ, but it's really because da 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 da. But anything I say after what she said, because her word is law, I'm talking back. I'm being disrespectful or whatnot. And it used to frustrate the heck out of me because I had all this inside. And as a result, too, and this could be a two-way thing. It made me more emotional as well because I'm holding all this inside and I don't have no verbal outlet. I had an outlet through sports or whatnot. And then some might say, okay, being raised by a woman too can make you emotional too. So that's why I say it could be two ways streak or whatnot when it comes to that. But I remember how that made me feel that I couldn't express myself or I couldn't at least explain. And you know, and I tell any older person now that's older than me, I tell them like, how could you tell your mom or your dad that they're not telling the truth? Man, you what? You know, and it took for me, it took humor for my mom to break down from that. Like as I got older, and there's like just no ways of trying to get my point across. But I guess once I got to a point where it's like, hey, he getting old now. Ain't too much I can do with him, man. He a big boy. Now me, simmer down. But I told her, I said, Ma, how could I say tell you that you're not telling the truth about something that's dealing with me? I say, Ma, you telling a story. Ma, you telling a lie. Ma, that's not true. No matter how I say you hear
You're going to need a
disrespect.
dental appointment right after that.
Right, right. I got to pick up my teeth. You know, so and she bust that laugh and she said, you know what? I think that's one of the things that I've learned from raising you is that, I didn't give you that platform or whatnot. Me and my mom's relationship was great because of that stuff like that, where she had growth too, even though I was young and I was a kid in her eyes, and her kid in her eyes, and she's been teaching me. She was still able to learn from me, just and by that I learned too, like, hey, when I get kids, I ain't gonna do that to mines, man. Because I know how it felt to me, so I ain't gonna do that. So that's one thing, number one, that I do for my kids, because I don't want them holding some animosity. I don't want them being angered, being in their room, and nowadays kids do crazy things. So, hey, I talk. I allow my kids to talk.
So we were talking about this in another setting, but it relates to what we're talking about here. There's a statement that was common in the baby boomer era. I'm sure you heard it based on what you just said there. Because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the statement. There we go. That's the statement that says, well, what does that statement mean to you? When you hear, because I said so, what did that mean to you?
That means what I said is law. There is no overriding. If mama said it, that means I don't care what daddy say. If daddy said it, it don't matter what mama say. Hey, so if I said go to bed at 9, you going to bed at 9. If God Himself came down here, you going to bed at 9. Are you fried? So that's what that meant to me.
But you're saying, so let's take that example. Let's say you have a curfew for your kids. Your curfew is 8:30. But one
Hmm.
weekend, maybe it's a weekend, one of your kids got a birthday party, and they go to Johnny's house, and Johnny's parents let them stay up till 11 o'clock. Now they come back home now, and you send them to bed at 8:30, and they're saying, "No, Dad, no, no, we don't have to go to bed at 8:30. We can stay up till 11." Since you're allowing them to discuss and talk, how do we handle that? What's the
I,
blueprint
I,
for that one?
I say one thing, I say another one of my mama saying, well, let them go ahead and raise you. Let them go ahead and take care of you. I call them right now. Before you go, take off them Nikes I bought you. Take off that shirt I bought you. Take off them Hanes underwear. Well, mom gonna let them take care of you. Since we going by their rules. So
Yep.
but John, I'd let you answer that.
Um, yeah, my apologies. Technology is something, boy. I tell you what. Um, my doggone computer did an update, and now it won't even let me get back on. It's flagging the site as a. So I'm using I have a district laptop, right?
Right.
So Dusty, I know you know, but Canvas done got hacked, and so
Yeah.
I think they taking a little bit more precaution on different things that you can and cannot go into. So I guess while we was on the call, it did an update, and then it considered the website that we going through. It flagged it, so it wouldn't let me do it. So I had to, basically on my cell phone, but it's all
Oh,
good.
okay.
Well, there's a will, there's a way.
We're good. No,
Yes, sir.
But yeah,
hallelujah, hallelujah.
but yeah, like Dusty say, my daddy was the law. Even and, we would try to run to my mama, but daddy was law. If he said it, he meant it, and it don't matter what nobody else say. That's what's happening. So, but I came in on part of the conversation. So I don't know the whole question, but
Well, so it's two parts. The first part was, and you may have answered this one. What is something that your parents gave you as a lesson, a rule, or what have you, that you for sure want to pass on to your son?
hmm
And the part that he was addressing is the flip side of that. What is it that your parents gave you or shared with you, taught you, what have you, that you for sure do not want to pass on to yours?
right, okay. So yeah, before I got cut off, I was in the middle of it. But so one of the things was work hard, but the other thing is, and you all know both of my parents. One thing I always saw my parents doing was treating people right, especially my mother. But I learned how to talk to people and just talking to people, period. Whether I knew them, whether they looked funny, whether they smelled funny, whether they had a unit on their face, whether they looked like they was coming to do damage. At least just speak, because you never know what people got going on. And that's one thing I would always tell my students as well is speak, put a smile on your face, something, just make somebody's day a little bit brighter. And if you could do that, and if you come across that person quite often, I promise you, and as a teacher, we see our students pretty much every day. You're going to change their mentality. You're going to change their attitude by at least smiling at them. I mean, it might take a while. It might be the last week of the school year before it finally changed. But speaking to them, smiling at them, and just trying to make them feel welcome and comforted is one thing I learned from both of my parents. Like, we would ride with my dad, and my daddy would say hey and start speaking and talk conversation. And when he get back or get done, like, you know them? He's like, nah, I don't know them. I was just speaking, and we just end up having a whole conversation.
Yeah.
I find myself doing that now as well. So that's one thing I learned from both of my parents. And then, like, on the flip side, one of the things that, although I fell into that trap, I would do it. What I like, let's say, what I say go. But just because I say it don't necessarily mean it's right. So you kind of going into a sticky place saying it because I said so. So I try not to do that anymore. And my wife kind of got on me a couple times when I would do that, and I kind of felt convicted, especially after I thought about what I said because I said so. What I was saying wasn't necessarily the right thing. So that's one thing I try to stay away from is because I said so.
Wow. Um, I think there's an atmosphere of parenting in every generation. I mean, there's certain things that become right for you to do
Mm-hmm.
in your generation. I'll give you another example. My generation taught you were a plate cleaner. Period. You ate what was on that plate, and actually, in my house, not only did you not get up from the table, you in my house you couldn't even drink anything until you finished everything on that plate.
Look here, I
Yeah,
was the last one to get up from the
yeah.
breakfast table every Sunday because I could. My mom would cook it every Sunday. That corned beef hash, I could not stand that when I was a kid, and I'd be there. Everybody been I got dressed for church. I'm still at that table because I ain't eat that corned beef hash. And the only reason I would end up getting up because we got to go. So they went on ahead and made me get up and go get dressed. But yeah, we had to clean our plate too. But
Man,
I love me some corned beef hash now. I tear that thing up.
I was just about to say, boy, look, boy, I used to love that.
But see, listen, my daughter is your age, right?
Yep.
And there are times when dinner is, what do you want? Okay, so what do you want? Okay,
Hmm.
so what do you want? So it's my daughter, her husband, and two kids, and DoorDash will bring whatever you want.
Hmm.
I mean, and that's a different platform
Yeah.
from you're not getting up from this. No, what do you mean? What you don't like that? I mean, that corned beef hash. If it wasn't for church, you'd probably be there now. Look,
Right.
It was lima beans for me. Couldn't do it.
Yes, sir.
But my mama, it angered her, and she said, "You know what? You gonna be all right." Cause I stayed to that table till it was time to go to bed, and I said, "Well, Mom, why did you do that? You know I don't like lima beans." And she was like, "Hey, something, whatever we got up in here, that's what we got. And if you don't eat
Mm.
it, you just gonna be hungry." And I was like, "Well,
Yep.
Mom, I'm just gonna sacrifice to be hungry." And she said, "But," she said, when I said that and I showed through my actions, she said, "I know you gonna be somebody, cause when you stuck on something, you gonna stick through. You willing to stick through the end through pain." So that was crazy. She ain't
funny.
never make them again.
Hmm.
Oh, so she stopped making lima beans.
Yeah, cause
Okay.
cause she saw I was gonna stay to that table. It was nighttime. I stayed at that table. My daddy was a little soft hearted, so he was like, "Oh, let the boy get off from the table. You know, he don't want to eat the lima beans. I eat the lima beans. No, he gonna eat them lima beans. I ate
Look here.
everything but them lima beans."
Look here, I love your mama to death, but boy, she must just want cooking them things right. Cause boy, lima beans is
Man,
good for you, boy.
look, I mean, not
You get
now.
so
Look,
thick and you
this
didn't eat no lima beans, boy.
now here's the thing. She would be probably mad at me now because if my mother-in-law or Miss Juanita, if they make lima beans, I eat theirs, but I don't eat nobody else's. I don't like them.
Boy, ooh, you better not let her see you that.
Right? She look,
Mm-hmm.
look. So I every time I eat, I look up. I be like, "Don't get mad, mama." It's like all this time. Oh,
Oh
so you
boy.
gonna eat theirs, but not mine? So I can just
Mm-hmm.
hear her now, boy. But yeah,
Okay,
that
here's
and
another one.
liver.
Since I know both of you from church, growing up in church, how did faith help you, hurt you, or how did it shape you in your life? How did faith affect your life?
At the time, I might have thought it was hurting me because I couldn't do, wouldn't do, wasn't allowed to do some of the things I've seen some of my friends doing. But like going out to parties and going and doing this and going and doing things that as a as a as a now as an adult, but even then you knew wasn't necessarily the right thing to do, but you knew it was fun to do. So you wanted to do it too, but I couldn't do, sometimes I couldn't even bring myself to do it because I knew the difference between right and wrong, and I knew God wouldn't want me doing that. But my parents instilled that in me, and like I say, because it was still in me, I'd be convicted. Even if I like go and do, I might not participate in all the things um that everybody else is doing because I like, nah, that ain't right. So that's one thing. It like having that conviction and knowing the difference between right and wrong, and knowing what the world says is right, but knowing what God says is right, is you are able to be able to decide like, yeah, that might look like it's right, and it might look like everybody having a good time, but that's not the right thing, or that's not the thing to do. Um, and then, of course, it helped me in the sense that I stayed out of a lot of trouble. Um, I got my education. I I had everybody gets does something wrong and gets punished and stuck your hand somewhere that you shouldn't, and so you end up getting bit or getting stung or whatnot. That's just a growing pain. But I promise you, I stayed away from a lot of those stings and a lot of those bites because of my faith and because of how my parents raised me. And then I had the friends that I grew up with, like Dusty and Jerron and Jamal, all of us at the church that we had. It was about we had different levels. It was I think me, Jamal, Jerron was a year ahead of Dusty and James, and then it's like all levels, but we was all together like a year after each other, about four different levels. So we all was cool together. We all grew up together. We all played the different church sports. Like that's what I miss is the church league basketball and the church league stuff that we did back in the day. Because churches used to
The
take the kids
camps
and do
too.
things, and yeah, and so much stuff that we did together. But so I wasn't out there with my other friends, but I was still out there with my friends that I grew up with in church, and we all had the same views and the same values. So I really wasn't missing anything, even though sometimes I may have thought I was. So that's how it helped me and shaped me.
Powerful,
Yeah,
powerful.
that's the far as the bad part that I didn't like. I felt like it took up a lot of my time because you had prayer meeting, you had Bible study, you had choir practice, you had boys choir practice, you had
Look,
early
look,
church morning service, you had
look,
evening service. So it
bruh.
was like it was something every time, and I'm like, Ma,
You can't talk because everybody know when that church is open. My mom was the one opening the church, and I had to be right there with her. I was at
Yeah, you're right.
everything.
You're right.
I was at
boy,
everything. So
bruh,
I got it. At the time, I thought I would say bad, but now it was good. But I had it worse than all y'all, so y'all can't talk.
boy. That was the only thing, that was the main thing I didn't
Yep.
like about it. But at the same time, with like what you said, with the camaraderie, like having people our ages and older and younger, it's like we was all a unit. We actually really did look at everybody as like family, like we was brothers and
Mm-hmm.
sisters and stuff. So I really love that, and that's what made going to church, I ain't gonna say bearable, but that's where it was like, okay, I'm going to church. That's what I'm looking forward to,
Mm-hmm.
hanging with with my friends or whatnot. But I'll take it a step further. The good things. Number one was like what Jonathan said about staying out of trouble. Because I look back now, and it was like, yeah, I'm taking up my time, but what would I have been doing with that time? And especially with me being the only child, I know I would have been getting into stuff just out of curiosity. And then seeing friends on the streets doing things they ain't got no business doing, I probably would have been doing the same thing. So, hindsight, back then I didn't see that, but now I see, hey, that was a good thing that I was there. But I would say the things that we're missing from church nowadays, and I don't know if it's money related, but like I look forward to those camps that we used to go to, the sleeping over at the Y. Like
Mm-hmm.
I looked forward to those, doing anything with the church, and all us was together or whatnot. And I think those camps kind of put me in a perspective to where like, okay, you're gonna have to learn about God and everything. Like the leadership camp, I say there's one leadership camp. That was like the turning event for me because they passed out Bibles that didn't have thee, thou, oh, yea, ye, and I'm like, and it spoke just regular like in our words, and it was like, okay, this made it easier. And the contest, it had table of contents like, hey, if you feeling lonely, read this scripture. If you feeling happiness, read this scripture. And that helped me. I carried that Bible all throughout college. And that's why I say that was a good part because I tell you a funny story, not to be long winded. Because when I went to college and after my freshman year, my sophomore year, I had got an apartment and I was moving and stuff, and I had my wallet in the middle of my car, and my mom was like, call herself teaching me a lesson by not leaving my wallet in the middle of the car, so she took it and hid it. And so she was like, "Yeah, so where your wallet at?" And I was like, "Oh, I left it in the car, and I'm looking. I can't." I was like, "Oh, I done lost my wallet," but I had a sense of calmness to me. Wasn't worried or nothing. And so she was like, so that's it. You ain't. I was like, well, I'm finna get on the phone and just cancel my credit cards. Da, 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 da. And so she was like, boy, I took your card and your wallet or whatever, but she couldn't find the wallet. And so she was like, God, dog, I don't know where I put. And so I'm just looking at her like, you know. And so she said, you know what? I think this is a lesson to me that God is telling me to leave you alone and let you do you and learn your own lessons on yourself or whatever. And soon as she said that, my wallet popped up. And she said, yeah, I know this guy right here. And then she asked me, she
Mm-hmm.
said, but why was you so nonchalant about it? And she was like, that irritated her. And I said, well, and this is truthful to this day. I said, because I felt like God got me. I have this confidence that nothing, no weapon, I truly was in that. Like, I felt like, hey, either my wallet gonna turn up, and I'm gonna just do the things like the that prayer say, like I'm gonna handle the things that I can handle, and the things I can't, God got it. So I was gonna cancel my cards, and then if I had to get my bank card, I get it. I mean, yes, tedious and something that I don't feel like doing, but hey, I gotta do what I gotta do. But it was nothing to be so worried about and distraught and mad and sad
Wow.
about. And I measure that confidence level of where I'm at in life with my relationship with God. So as I got older, I fell astray from that. I fell, I went astray from the word and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that my confidence wasn't as strong as that day that I'm talking about. And so not that's my bar of letting me know like, okay, I need to get back right. I need to get back in my word, or I need to go to church, or I need to because I'm religious, but I'm not religious like how it was back then. That right there, my confidence level lets me know like, hey, okay, God, I'm sorry. Obviously, I've been falling from your grace, you know. But yeah, that right there, that lets me know that what was put instilled in me, that was the good part.
Hmm.
Wow, powerful. Know that you're right. God has you. You can't, as Reverend Willis used to say. I don't know if older, you're old enough, younger. Has you in His hands. Can't nobody get you out. You are there. You are there. And yet, well, just a commercial, I guess. I think I told Jonathan this. I don't know if I shared this with you. We are in the process right now, the Brotherhood, the men at New Hope, of trying to put together a league, a basketball league,
Hmm.
and hopefully will mirror the kind of fellowship that you're talking about here, bringing young men, particularly, well, right now it's just targeting the young men, so that we start that back. Now, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But now, what has been kind of universally the case, since you mentioned the passion that you both had with your faith, universally is the case that the millennials are not in church now. What is what's happening? What happened? Well, just are you actively in church now? I know Jonathan ain't nowhere in the world you wasn't going. Both you mamas mama got the key to the church, daddy is a deacon. You and Dusty, those experiences there say a lot about it too.
Hmm.
What is your relationship faith wise now as a father, as husband, etc., in your family?
So I am active in the church. I'm actually right down the street from New Hope at First Baptist Church of College Hill. Because that's where my wife actually kind of. It's funny how this works. My parents got together, and my mother was at New Hope, so my dad ended up going to New Hope. Me and my wife got together, and she was from First Baptist, so I ended up going to her church. But I am, but I think one of the things that happened, and we all use it as a crutch, we use it as an excuse, but it's also fact. COVID, and then the explosion of watching everything on YouTube and watching everything online. So it I, I do feel convicted because I do not go every Sunday like I should, but when I'm not there, I am watching it on TV or watching it on YouTube. But what it gave everybody an excuse of, oh, I don't have to go in. I don't have to go to church. I can sit here and watch it in the comfort of my own home, which is also a bit of a trap because when you're comfortable, you know what happens when you're comfortable. You either falling asleep, you end up getting distracted doing something else. You end up, which is why they say you shouldn't do your Bible stuff and everything on your phone because you start getting text messages and your messages from Facebook and everything, and you get distracted. But um, it is one of the main reasons why the I'm not I'm not on the board to see the membership numbers and everything, but the attendance, that is one reason why attendance has dropped off. Is because everybody, it's so easy to sit there and watch it on TV. Um, and but on the flip side, it's a good thing because if I'm not feeling well and I'm not feeling up to it, I'm not missing out totally on church. I can turn on the TV and I can watch it on YouTube. So, but like the scripture says, when two are gathered in my name, so it's better to be in church with other believers because you kind of feeding each other and seeing the joy of my person sitting next to me in the pew or the person in front of me or the actually feeling it because you can seeing it on TV and being in the building and feeling it is two different things. I do believe the spirit is a little bit more you feel it a little bit more when you actually in the presence of the choir and of the person, the lady right next to you, and caught the Holy Ghost. Like you kind of feel all that, other rather than just seeing it on TV. But yeah, that's why I think Well, I guess back to me. So yeah, I am active. I am doing. I'm actually a part of. We just started, like a mentor type thing, which is we kind of like what you're doing here. The older generation is mentoring. The Moses generation is mentoring the Joshua generation, and the Joshua generation is mentoring the next generation. So I to answer your question, yes, I am active.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I am not. Uh, and
Beat him, Reverend Covington. Beat him. Beat him.
look, so I've
Well, you need
had
to go cause I said so.
right. Look, man. But I kind of I've had my struggles with it. So I think that's kind of like why I'm not as present as I used to younger for many different factors. For one, I've always struggled with knowing, wanting to know the truth because there was some things that were conflicting, and I couldn't never get the answer. Most people that I would talk to about it, it was like going around the answer instead of giving it to me. I'm a type that like give it to me blood raw if I'm asking you a question. Just get straight to it. Don't make it sound good. Don't make it do good. And then, two big factors was like, one when my mom passed, it was like it was hard for me, because church was such a big part of her life, and New Hope was, that big for her, or whatnot. And then,
I don't mean to interrupt, but the same with me because that's one reason why you know when my mama passed, my mama was New Hope to
right,
me in my
right,
eyes,
it's
and
too many
so
memories.
it's hard. It's honestly hard for me to go up in New Hope because I don't want to just sit there and break down. And I know on occasion I will go up in the New Hope, and of course it'll get better as time goes on. But I agree with you on that one.
And then also we started losing members as well too, like to death. Like other people were dying as well, deacons and stuff. And then after uh uh like uh you Reverend Coverson, uh 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 God dog it,
Reverend
what's the
Jenkins,
what that was it for me. That was the last straw for me. But no, what's Buckeye like when
AG.
like
hmm
y'all was like the founding, y'all was like the founding fathers, what I said. And so when everybody started going, and people was passing away, it just wasn't the same for me, and then like when Jenkins was got ill and couldn't really do it, like that was like the last straw for me. So then it was like that's what stopped me from going. But yet I still, was seeking knowledge, and then that's why I say like I'm not religious, but I'm religious. I don't believe in, I ain't gonna say not believe, but I don't believe the fact that people put on you. They put the religion on you instead of the word and the truth. Meaning, oh, you got to do this to be accepted in heaven. You got to do this, or you got to do this, or whatever.
tradition,
Yeah, there we go. And
tradition.
I'm like, no, man, I don't think God gonna turn me away because I missed church 5 days or something like that, or I'm not in the choir. So it was like that kind of turned me off, and it's like, look, I want to learn. And then, you know, as I got older too, I think pastors went away from the information and the truth, and it was more about how I can make this person feel with the theatrics, and 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 all that's good, but I come out not feeling like I learned anything. It was like maybe it was the same old stuff, stories that I heard, but I want to learn, and that's what it was for. And I think the first part of your question is, I think for the young generations, I think what's turned them off is the whole greed, the way you see some of these pastors on online, and through social media, where they asking for, yeah, I want your rent money. sell your house and all that stuff, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not how you gonna get the young, because they looking at it like, if you the pastor and you acting like that, man, I'm not finna go there. And it's like you losing the youth when you put so much emphasis on money and everything. And yes, we're supposed to tithe, but they getting away from it now. Now they self proclaim what they call it, prophets and stuff. Hey, God told me to tell you to give me, sell your house, and because I need it for the building fund, and the building ain't never been built. You've been asking for it for 10 years, so I think it's been discouraging to look the young generation with that, because the
Yeah.
young generation is about action. They want to see instead of talking, and I say, like, for me, I want to learn. So I do go to church though. I go to crossings on the crossing on Causeway or whatnot. What got me and my family into it is that my kids loved it. I'll say this, that church does make it convenient for everybody to go. You have no excuse. You dress how you want. They have a room for every age group separate. They got teenagers got their own little teen pastor and everything. They got, if a woman is breastfeeding, they got a room for that. It's like there's no excuse. And then they don't even ask for tithing, because we was like, hey, did we miss tithing? They was like, nah, we got boxes on the side of the wall and our cash app, and you just, whenever you feel like it or whenever you can or whatever. And we was like, dang, okay, that's new. And then the pastor, he teaches, and they let everybody who's ordained, they let everybody preach. So it was like, and it's all colors, the white, black, Spanish, Chinese, everybody. So it was like, as a, so and my kids, when my kids loved it and wanted to go and was actually learning, I said, okay, this must be where you want me to go. Now we don't go like we should or whatnot, but like Jonathan said, we can catch it on TV and or YouTube or something.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your candor in that. However uncomfortable that may have made you feel. But I want to go back to, in both of your cases, what you talked about was the relationships that you developed. In fact, the two of you here are here because of a relationship you developed. And it wasn't necessarily in the Sunday morning worship, it was something that happened beyond that. Because during the Sunday morning worship, y'all wouldn't have had a chance to talk. In fact, none of y'all, you can't talk in there. This is not about you. So there were other things that were there that allowed those seeds to be planted in you, and therefore, Holy Spirit that would convict you if you stepped outside of what you knew the Holy Spirit would not allow you to do. And that's what needs to be recreated in the current generation. And those kinds of things, no offense, does not happen on television. You do not get to, well, you talked about playing basketball. You don't get to play basketball on YouTube. You do not get the sleepovers on YouTube. Those things are personal relationships that you have, and you have to have those. And I would, well, we'll talk more about that later, because it is a passion. So I'll go to this question even, because while it is also the case, while it is the case that millennials are in large part, on the whole, not showing up, it's also specifically, as my subject matter deals more with masculinity or men, men, absolutely. Churches, most churches, 80% is, I think, a conservative estimate of what the church population would be in terms of female, male. 80% female, 20% male, and I think that may be a little bit far-reaching. Why do you think men, on the whole, absent themselves from church?
It's a good one. One is because men are men, and men want to do what men want to do. Um, if you are a Christian, you're not just gonna do what you want to do. If you are a if you believe in Jesus and believe in God and the Bible, what the Bible says, you're not just gonna do what you want to do. You gonna if you're a man, if you're a husband, you're gonna take care of your wife. You're gonna take care of your child. You're gonna work by the sweat of your blood, and I mean by the sweat of your brow, and you're gonna provide and be an upright man and do what you're supposed to do, or try to, at least I should say. Um, and then you're gonna have that, like you say, you're gonna have that community that's going to, if you aren't doing that, you're gonna be corrected by community, or they're gonna give you some tips, they're gonna give you some pointers, they're gonna come pull you. How we grew up, the older generation like you gonna pull us to the side and and correct you lovingly, and just a worldly man doesn't want to be corrected. A worldly man want to do what he want to do, and without any conviction, without any um consequence, although we know that's not the case in anywhere, that you don't have any kind of consequence. But I believe that's one of the reasons why men aren't as active. And then if you look everywhere, they're portraying men, especially black men, as um stereotypical, being lazy, being letting the female take control, letting the female run households, letting whatever female just be the director, or give the directive. And unfortunately, a lot of our younger men generation are seeing that, and they cool with that, especially if they find the one that's going to take care of them. Because there are, unfortunately, a lot of females that don't mind taking care of. They found him a good one, or he's so fine, or he's so this, or he's so that. I do anything to keep him, and then they get wind of that, and then they play into that role of, I'm gonna just let you do whatever you need to do to keep me. So, and I know that's not it, and that's not totally it, but that's just a couple reasons that I think is the case.
think I think kind of think of our makeup when it comes to that question, as far as like women and men's logic. Like women are more in touch with their emotions, where men are more in touch with tangible things. And the point I'm bringing up is that when women go to church, there's a great feeling, there's a great sensation. God has got me, and et cetera, et cetera. Whereas men, some might get discouraged because they might want to actually see God, and that's what I mean. Like we're
And they
more
think they are God.
there. You go. So it is kind of lead into what Jonathan said. It's our ego as men. You know, hey, I'm doing XYZ, and I don't need no other grown man telling me that I'm doing it wrong, or I'm going about my life the wrong way. And if God is who y'all say he is, then he need to come down right now and fix my situation. But hey, brother, if God is seeing you, that ain't no good thing.
Right.
Cause you ain't on this world no more. So be careful what you ask for. So I mean, so I really think it's more of that, like where men more want to go out and do physical things, like hey, I want to go get, and it could be good things. Like hey, I'd rather work and get money and pay for this and that so my family can this, that, and the other. Whereas the woman is like, hey, I want to get some knowledge, I want to be fulfilled. So I think it's more of our makeup and what our
Oh,
desires.
And on that note, with the ego thing, like, just think about it. Like, and me not so much now, and although I still find myself doing this, like when you at church and that song, that good song come on, and you in the spirit, and you see everybody start popping up. Sometimes a man don't want everybody to know that, oh, I'm getting in the spirit. So you don't see as many men standing up and dancing and
Yep.
clapping, singing to the song.
Ego. Yep.
Sometimes I don't do it as much now. I did, of course, when I was younger, because I don't want nobody to see me getting all happy in the Lord, which is the total opposite of what I should be thinking.
Right.
Everybody should see me getting happy in the Lord. Like you say, we got that manly, that ego, and I don't want to seem soft because I'm celebrating in the Lord, or a song to touch me to the point where I'm jumping up with the Spirit, and I'm celebrating, I'm singing, and I'm clapping, I'm doing everything else. So it's the look.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we care a lot about how we look, and not even how we look. We care about how people look at
Prestige.
us.
Yeah.
So I believe that's a big issue with it, or a big factor.
So I'll share this with you. There's a book that I'm reading. I'm reading several at the same time, and I think the title of this one is "Why Men Hate Going to Church." It's not why they hate church, why they hate going to church. And
Hmm.
one of the comments that the author makes is that men are very religious, contrary to popular belief and or thought.
Hmm.
It's just that their religion is masculinity. If you don't believe it, any Sunday, any Monday, any Thursday, all day Saturday during football season, it's full of men who have no inhibitions about anything that you just said. In fact, I've seen, and you've seen this too, you can turn on a football game in Green Bay, Wisconsin in December in the snow, and the only shirt that he has on is paint. And he is,
Hmm.
and without any inhibition at all. There is nothing, I mean, and
You don't care about his body type, his
don't care
physique,
about his
how big
body,
his stomach
his
is, none
health.
of that.
It's a cheese hat on his head, and green. His body is yellow with a green number or letter on it.
Yep.
His point is that we celebrate masculinity in such a way that that is the thing we put on the altar. Now, that is one conviction. On the other side, he gives this perspective. He says, during during the war, I forget what war he references, but during the war, men had gone off to war. Women are, of course, at home. When men left, they started to make church be comfortable for them. Another example that he gives, he says, when I forget who, 14, 15, he was a teenager, young teenager. I was in the house and my mother had the thermostat set to a certain temperature. And dad came into the house from work and he said, um, it's hot as heck in here. He didn't say heck. It's hot as heck in here. So he changed the thermostat to 68. Right?
Hmm.
Everybody in the house got to put on a sweater. But dad wanted the thermostat at 68. Now, as soon as dad went to work, mom changed the thermostat back to a warmer temperature. When dad came home, temperature went back down. Here's the point that he's making. The thermostat in the room is going to be set to whoever is present. If
Yeah.
the man is not present, the thermostat is going to be set to make the people that are there comfortable.
It's
And
true.
so you
That's a
get
good one.
songs, you get messages, you get an atmosphere, you get flowers, you get pastel colors, you get all of those things because 80 to 90% of the people that are there like to see those things. So the thermostat gets adjusted to be comfortable for those that are present. If we're not there,
Hmm. Wow.
the thermostat gonna go to make the people comfortable. I see you got that one because that was
That's a
really
good
deep
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
that's crazy.
because we cater to we in my generation we grew up and it's probably true with you too because you athletes. We grew up in the suck it up generation. Suck it up, men don't cry.
Yep.
Not no no you ain't. There is no tenderness to be had. Now, Dusty, you mentioned you were raised by your mother, so you develop an emotional thread in you, right? But it's not something that probably on the football field you feel somebody you might have broken an arm. Oh, you crying? No, man. I'm all right. I'm all right. Put me back in. This 3rd and 2. I'm gonna play because
Mm-hmm.
that's the definition of masculinity.
Yep.
The God that we worship is masculinity. It's not Jesus Christ. Now, the thermostat changed if men are present, becomes a focus more on, well, let me see, this is a name that you may know. I can't talk too much about him because once I say his name, it goes a different direction. David Goggins. Now, David, you know who David Goggins is? You never heard of him? Well, don't worry about that. Well, just give you this. David Goggins was 6'1", 297 pounds. But he wanted to join the Navy to become a Navy SEAL. They told him, and this is in his videos, he says, son, you got 2 problems. You 300 pounds and you're black. Right? You are 106 pounds overweight. In 3 months, he lost 100 pounds. 3 months, 106 pounds. And he joined, became a Navy SEAL. Now, if you look him up now, he's and people will call him the toughest man to ever live. Because
Hmm.
he's 50 years old now, but I think he's joined the Navy SEAL twice. He's a Ranger. I think he just re-enlisted at 50. Ran 100 miles in 24 hours. That's ridiculous. But when you look him up, he uses a lot of profanity. The point that I make in saying using his name is as we focus more, for example, on in the sports world, we say no pain, no gain. And if you're really a sports person, you know that is true. You know that the things that you learn that make an impact on you are the things that brought pain to you when they happen.
Hmm.
My personal experience is I think one of y'all said it. My mom, I tell her now, one of my episodes before, I said I made sure that she was old enough and couldn't move in her hospital bed. I said, she can't move, can she? Okay, no. I said, Mom, when we were growing up, if they were passing out gold medals for beating kids, you
Hey,
you would have gotten gold medals every 4 years, every year. You would have.
Yes, sir.
I said that to my mom too. I said you should have a trophy just like this with the belt.
Look,
Shwa,
when my son
man.
came along, I didn't know who the heck my daddy was, cause boy, my daddy used to line us up from oldest to the youngest. And now he couldn't even, when Jeremiah was young, he couldn't even bring himself to even raising a hand to him. My daddy used to have a thick leather belt, and the worst thing you could hear, "Go get my belt." Oh man, that was it.
And you getting a whooping. Why are you going to
Yep.
get the belt? You just
Right,
beating yourself up.
right.
Yeah. But I think you said this, Jonathan. Those things are the things that you now treasure because it kept you away from
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff. I said a lot. Look, I might have been in a whole lot more trouble than I was because I
Mm-hmm.
think I could have gotten away with from the police.
Yeah,
But
I
mom
think
know
so
where I
too.
live. She
Right.
know where I sleep.
Yeah.
And on one occasion, just one occasion, I got a whipping while I was asleep. And
Boy. Boy,
Try the
boy, boy.
bathtub. Why you in the bathtub?
yeah, oh, see,
Boy.
well, you can't go.
Hey, boy. Hey. I about passed out. She ain't do it, but I about about passed out.
Yes, sir.
And all I was doing was beat. I was taking a shower and I was just beating, just taking a shower there, beating on the wall. She coming, what you doing in here? I said, oh, I turned into a female quick. I was like, what you doing? He's like, you beating on the wall. I'm thinking you falling and stuff. I'm like, boy, black parents come up with anything to beat you or whatever. I'm like, I said,
Yes,
boy,
sir.
I told my mom, I said, boy, if you would have hit me with that belt and I was wet, oh, you would have went to jail. You would have went to, because I would have been dead.
Look. We used to threaten that all the time. My daddy's favorite line. Look here, they still got to get here. Like they're on the phone, but they still got to get here.
Man, look here, boy.
I tell you, see, the thing about getting a whipping while you sleep, they get 2 or 3 good licks in before you
Yeah, before you
realize
even
this
know
ain't
it.
no
Yep.
dream. See, see it went whack, whack. And I was like, man, this is
Yes,
That felt
sir.
kind of.
pretty real dream. And it's 2 or 3 good licks before you realize.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute.
Then you got to
Yes,
cover.
sir.
You try to find it to this day. To this, I don't care how hard it is. I can be in the Sahara, in the middle of the desert. I got to have cover on. I will not
Hmm.
sleep without cover because I need something.
You got that PTSD, huh?
Yeah, PTSD. I know.
I'm trying to
No,
tell
I
you.
need something. Give me a sheet. Give me some kind of protection. Oh
Ooh,
wow.
that's funny. That's a good
But
one.
the whole idea, and particularly with you guys, because both of you are in the teaching industry, so you are in contact with boys all day. And I would guess, don't know this, but I would guess predominantly black kids. Um, so if we don't have something that we're putting inside of them that will control them,
hmm
because some kids, not all of them now, some kids will do well if they in front of you.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh yeah.
I have to say, Jonathan, there were some times I was over at a certain school, and I, they, they didn't care whether I was there or not. They just there was,
You could
they,
have had your Bible in your hand. It wouldn't have mattered not one bit.
yeah. I mean,
It's this generation.
and what I
It
would
is.
say is they took an English class from Bernie Mac and Samuel L. Jackson, so they knew they could use certain words as a noun, verb, adjective, adverb, same word. It's
And see,
all of them.
that come from a couple things. One, like when we was growing up, you had them kids that was bad, and you knew it was bad, but you draw that line, they would not cross that line. These
Because
kids jump all over the line now.
there were consequences.
Yeah, but
But
now,
these kids don't have no fear of their parents. They don't have no
right?
fear of nobody.
They don't have no fear of parents, the education system, and I get it, but at the same time, we kind of crippling, because unfortunately, our black boys are the ones that do a lot of this stuff. But now you can only suspend them so many times. Um,
Yes.
but then it's like if you do something bad enough, you can't discipline them on the level that they need to be disciplined. But then on the flip side, if a child of another race does something even worse, they get a slap on the wrist, and it's just it's just backwards. The crime and the punishment don't go together. And like you say, and the part is the worst is a lot of times, unfortunately, the parents will come up and try to get them out of every bit of trouble that they did, and you know your child bad.
Yeah.
And I was
But
gonna say that.
And then get
yeah,
on you.
I was gonna say it's 100%
exactly.
parenting to me.
But what ticks me off to no end, and I was a good one. Us on this phone call, we were the good ones, but we still did stuff and we still lied our way out of trouble, or tried to at least. I remember when I did some things and I knew my dad was finna kill me, I would tell every single lie I could to get out of trouble.
I'm trying to tell
But
you.
these parents, oh, my child don't lie. Man, your child got straight F's. Your child skip this, skip that. You telling me your child is an angel?
First
But
of all,
you gonna come up here and get him out and sweat me. I don't even know your child like that to tell you that your child did this.
first of all, why you coming up to the school now?
That
I've
part.
been I've been calling you and calling you, text
That
message,
part.
sending letters home and everything about your son failing and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But as soon as somebody step on your
Mm-hmm.
son's shoes and he fight him and he get in the fight, now all of a sudden you want to come up and talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to talk about his academics. You want to talk about him his
Yeah,
getting his
somebody
shoes.
stepped on his
I want to
Nike.
know what's being done to that
Right.
child.
Yep.
What?
I'm gonna tell y'all a story.
It's crazy.
Like I say, I've been teaching 23, 24, 22, however many years. But my first school was Sly Middle School. And I wouldn't take those experiences back. But Sly at the time, which probably still is, was the toughest, the roughest middle school in the county. Breaking up multiple fights a day, going in the neighborhood, breaking up fights. Anyways, so I had this young girl from the time she was in sixth grade. I had in sixth grade, I had in seventh grade, I had in eighth grade. Never seen her mama ever. Called home. Grandmama would always come, or who, but you could never get in contact with mama. Do y'all know the first time I seen this girl mama? So we used to walk across the street because they would always go to 7-Eleven right across the street from Slide, and that's where everything would jump down and go off, and then even into the neighborhood. It was this big fight finna happen across the street at 7-Eleven. Do you know this girl mama? First time I saw her was when she came up to help her daughter fight. In
That's
3 years, the first time I see you is when you come and help your daughter fight. And that's what's wrong with our people.
Yeah. Yes.
Unfortunately, and that our kids,
It's
that's what our kids
reality.
see from their parents.
And
So
and
until our people start working on our people,
Thank you.
and
Thank
I love our grandparents, but
you. We don't like to hear it.
our grandparents give their kids too many passes and take. And I get it, you don't want to see your grandchild go down the wrong road, and so you have to kind of step in, but
But what can they do though? Too though, they
right.
old.
So I didn't
Parents ain't
mean,
doing their job, so
yeah,
they look at it like, look, I gotta take care of my baby.
exactly. So it's
Babies having
it's
babies.
it's a sad cycle. It's a sad cycle.
and that to me is why in the men's ministry, in my
Hmm.
opinion, that is the doorstop, because there are a lot of single women raising boys
Hmm.
that they have no control over. Fortunately, Dusty, your mom would punch you in the face, so you know.
Hmm.
She was
But
hardcore.
corporal punishment is now something
Hmm.
that now a kid, if you threaten the child with corporal
Yep.
punishment, they
All
got
they got
one
to do
of
is pick up the
these.
phone. Yep.
They got one of these, and you finna
Yep.
get lit up. Even though they know they're going to foster home,
Hmm.
you're gonna stay with grandma
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So courting them, and as I mentioned, we're doing a basketball tournament. We working the details of it. Of course, you probably know they opened a community center right down the street from us. What is it? I don't know, 4 blocks from the
Yeah.
church. Multi-million-dollar edifice,
Hmm.
basketball courts, and so forth. So
Yeah. It's
hopefully we
nice.
get back into those kinds of relationship. One of the
Hmm.
members of the church is the head coach. Well, he's the coach of the Hillsborough High School basketball team, boys basketball team. So he'll bring his boys over and boys in the community. So hopefully we can develop
Hmm.
relationships with those boys so that we have some mentor mentee relationship so
Right.
as to be able to sow a seed into them about something bigger than you want to fight this guy here for
Hmm.
his Nikes,
Yeah.
something like that. We've
Yeah.
got to be able to sow that seed because a lot of things got dropped. The thermostat got turned
Yeah.
all the way up and it's
Yeah.
burning,
Yeah.
and
It's hot.
somebody's got to come in and cool that down. And
And that's the I ain't gonna say the only thing, but that's the main thing I miss with this position that I have now is I'm not in front of kids and making those relationships and being able to make that difference like I was when I was actually inside of the classroom or inside of the school building. Because you saw me in action, Reverend Covers,
yeah,
and like you saw the relationship I had with these
yeah,
kids,
yeah,
and like I could tell them to whatever, and they'll stop what they'll do it for the most part, unless they didn't got temperature done got way up here. But for the most part, I had the kind of relationship where if I told a child to do something, or
You
I could lead them
respected
in a direction to keep them from getting themselves in trouble.
it.
And with this position, I don't see kids like that to be able to do that. So I do miss that aspect of the education. But
Yeah, my
yeah.
kids, my kids get this see it when we out, and that's what's crazy. Now it made me realize too, like how much of a difference I make, because me and my kids will be in the grocery store, we'll be at a game, and I'm seeing some kid I done taught like sixth grade, don't even remember the kid. Don't know the kid name or nothing, but I know they know me because they said Mr. Jones. And like I said in the beginning of the introduction, you say Mr. Jones, I know you know me. And I'm like, oh, what's up? And they're like, hey,
Hmm.
you remember me, Sammy from down there? And I'm like, oh, what's up, man? I
Yeah.
still don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm going along with it, and it's like it make you feel good because I'm like, hey, how you doing? And then they tell me a story, and then I be like, oh, I remember you, boy, you was bad. It's like, yeah, I used to get in trouble, back then, but now I'm doing this, I'm driving trucks and stuff, and so I'm like, man, that's good. You
Hmm.
love hearing those positive stories, and then once they leave, my kids like, oh, you know everybody.
That's my
God,
son the same way. Well, we can't go nowhere without a former student coming up and saying, Mr. Paget.
yeah,
Or sometimes I got to jot it because I remember a lot of faces. I don't remember all their names, but I like, you look familiar. And then they look at me like, and then they get that puzzle like, you went to Slide or you went to Greco or you went to Young? If they still don't get, I was the computer teacher. Mr. Paget. Like, yup.
yeah.
And so, like, and that started a little conversation. And then my son be like, but you get some benefits from having some of your former students. Like if they work somewhere, you might get an extra fry or something like that. You know what I'm
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
saying?
I got you, Mr. Jones. I
Yeah,
got you.
that part.
Appreciate that.
Yes,
You know
Listen,
what I'm
sir.
guys,
Yes,
saying?
I'm
sir.
gonna have to let y'all go because Jonathan, you told me that you had a
No, I'm
seven
good. I'm
o'clock
good.
commitment, huh?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Um,
We keep it moving.
here is something that I did. Jonathan, you know that I did. I was doing some substitute teaching. I made a point of coming every day with a shirt and tie on, every day, for exactly that reason, because I needed young people to see, particularly young black boys, to see
Something
that you
different.
didn't have to be
Mm-hmm.
something else, or you could be. That is an option for you. I even at my age, from time to time, they what does it? Walk softly, carry a big stick, didn't yell, wore the shirt and tie, but they could see that. Let's see how I say this delicate. They could see that I was working out.
Yeah.
I'm in the gym 4 days a week, and it shows, right? They said, "I don't think you want to try him." Or
Mm-hmm.
some kids said, "No, I want to try him." I said, "No,
Yeah.
that's not the way we roll."
Yeah.
But it does make a statement, and we have to be very visible in our neighborhoods because there is a shortage. There's an absence. There was one kid that at a certain middle school that his grandmother was raising him, because the mother had 4 kids, 2 of them like 21, 22. She dropped those off at her mother's house. So the grandmother raised them and they're gone. And now she started back over, and now she's got a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old that grandmama is raising again. Grandmama tired.
Mm-hmm.
Grandmama ain't got no, and the kid is 6th or 7th grade. He's bigger than me.
Mm.
And it's just a bad situation. So if we're not able to catch those young men at a young age, and athletics become very important for them, because
Yeah.
they see the discipline. See, what athletics gives them is we have to depend on each other. Look, you can't be, arguably, Tom Brady, greatest quarterback that ever lived. Arguably. But I've never seen Tom throw the ball and then run out and catch it. He never did that. So you need somebody else. And if you're going to try to step outside the line, you off the team, you didn't help anybody. But he wants to be, there are certain things that are common to all, particularly males. We are tribal creatures. We hunt in tribes. That's why gangs become important. I need a brotherhood. When we were cavemen, we go out and try to kill a rabbit, but you can't go out by yourself, because while you out to try to kill a rabbit for your family, a saber-toothed tiger is out trying to eat you for his.
Yeah.
Right.
So you need somebody behind you to watch out for the tiger while you hunt for the rabbits for all of us. So we need each other to try to get through, to get this common goal established. And if we're trying to go off by ourselves, we just can't win. We can't do that. That was the Barry Sanders story. You the greatest running back there ever was, but you ain't got no team around you. So you got all these yards, but you got no ring.
Well, if he had Emmitt Smith line back in the day, boy,
Oh
ooh,
my God! Don't get us started down that,
Thank
boy.
you.
But yeah, if
Good
he had
God.
Emmitt Smith line,
He probably would have shattered.
Yes, sir.
It would
because
have
he
been
was
unreachable.
doing that without it.
Right.
But it's developing that, and because what we want to do is we will man up for each other, all of us with the same color jersey,
Yeah.
because we want to beat the team over there with that different color jersey, and so we'll man up to each other. Whatever coach says that's going to help us win against that team over across the way in that other color jersey. And that is what develops us. Now, I had another guy on our podcast not too long ago. He says he studied men historically, and he says there are 4 pillars. He gives 4 pillars that are common to men throughout time. Strength. Because our physical bodies are such that we're just going to be a bigger than females generally, and so strength becomes a part of that. But that strength, not just physically, though that needs to be, it's also mentally. You got to be strong enough that if you fall down, or no, when you fall down, when you get knocked down, you have strength enough to get back up. So strength. Next one is honor. The sense of honor, integrity, that I am respected in my community. I'm a person of honor. Now, thugs get the same honor. You know, Thug walk in the club and he says, yeah, everybody looking, because of certain things that he's done to make you recognize who he is. He wants that honor. Part of that is that ego.
Right.
Then there is mastery. You need to master a craft. What is it that you do? Because you got to be able to take something to the marketplace, right? There's something that you do, some skill, some talent that you have, that you say, I do this well, and I'm so good at it, I'm going to sell this. When I was I remember when we call it sidewalk surfboard first came out, and it was a piece of wood with roller skates up under it. Wow. Okay. Well, who thought anything about that? Now, and now this is probably 10 years ago. I'm flipping channels like men do, and I hit ESPN, and I stopped because they got a skateboard championship. Who would have thought?
Yep.
And I paused on it because now this is about 10 years ago. I paused on it because I noticed some kid today, this day, is going to win $100,000.
From a skateboard.
$100,000. And I know it was a kid because the commentators were retired skateboarders and they were 25 and 26.
Wow. Wow.
They retired.
Right.
They too old to do it. So some kid
Dang.
today, and that's 10 years ago, is going to get $100,000. Now, if you're getting $100,000 today, this ain't your first tournament. So you've been getting paid for a little while.
And nowadays they got NIL.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you finna get paid again when somebody sponsors you or somebody. Wow. Okay. So again, whatever your mastery is, get real good at it. And it almost don't matter what it is as long as you real good.
Yeah.
Because if you get real good,
Yeah.
somebody gonna pick that up.
Somebody gonna find you.
And then the last one he says is courage. You have to have the courage to try something that you've never tried. Most people lose out on their purpose in life because they won't try this thing that somebody said, well, I tried it and I couldn't do it. You won't push yourself to do this thing. You won't take that shot when y'all are down 2 points and you've been shooting threes in practice all year long. You've been shooting threes, but you won't take the shot.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the courage, the faith to be able to take the shot. So you never get to that. You never get to the Kobe plateau because you're scared to take the shot, and you lose your purpose because if you never take the shot, if you never have the courage to, well, I'll say it from baby terms. If the baby never has the courage to come out of the playpen, you never learn to walk. If you never learn to walk, you never learn to run. If you never learn to run, you never learn to climb. If you never learn to climb, you never get to the top of the mountain. You know, you got to have the courage to take one. Anyway, that's kind of a lot of it. Listen, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. It's been my joy to share with you guys. Thank you so very much for opening your candor, for sharing precious secrets from the Millenial family, and a few things we had in common, a couple of knocks upside the head.
It was fun reminiscing about some stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it is. And
Yes,
you
sir.
get to pass those on. Now I got grandkids, and I watch my
Mhm.
kids doing what y'all do. I said, wow, I just do it in amazement, but it's all good. Anyway, guys, listen, for those listening, we've had a couple of great guests. We've been out here a little while talking about some things, peeking at it. Subscribe if you will, and if you subscribe, you will start to get the notifications each week. I post every Sunday at 3 p.m. So you guys will be getting those. I'll send you the link. And if there's anything extra, anything you want to close out with, any extra thought or comment you would like to close with?
One thing is that I might have missed it when I got cut off, but I was the fourth child. Dusty was the only child, so my son is the only child. So he's being raised and living differently than I did because I had 3 examples of either what to do or what not to do. So every mistake my son making, he ain't had no example of should I do this, shouldn't I do this. So that changes in how you get parented as well, because he's stepping into a little bit more than what I stepped into because I knew not to step there. And as a parent, I have to remind myself that I had examples of what to do and what not to do, and my son doesn't. So I have to give a little bit more grace. And my wife reminds me of that all the time. I have to give grace because he's the first child, the only child, and he's taking a path that he hasn't seen anybody else take before. Plus the fact they got all these cell phones and social media and everything else that they got to tend to deal with. So that's one thing, just being graceful, but still raising him in the way that he should go. Yeah. So
Great,
the
fantastic.
main thing I want to say is, as a teacher, the thing that we do not want to hear, and I'm mainly talking to my black community, because this is where I see the the biggest need. Parenting, parenting, parenting. We don't want to hear it, but it's 90 to 100% parenting of how your kids come out the way they come out, act the way they act, do whatever they do. Either they're looking at examples, and it doesn't have to necessarily be you. It could be the streets, it could be the friends, it could be any influence. So my advice is you become the influence. Force your way to be the influence. You're the parent.
mhm.
You know, because like what we were saying, hey, my word is law. So, not saying that we have to force our kids to do things, but at the same time, we're not the friends. But, you know, we gotta stop trying to be our kids' friends.
Yep.
I love the relationship I have with my kids. I can be friendly with them, but they know I'm dad. I'm dad first. I
Hmm.
love you. I want to play with you and all that stuff like that. But everything that comes from me is because I want to see you succeed. So parents, take control. No matter how far apart you think your child has left your arms, and like, oh, it's too late for them. No, it's not.
Never too late.
No, it's not. It's never too late.
Never too late.
When you give up, you might as well give your child up
Hmm.
for adoption.
Yep.
Never give up. Patience is key. Grace is key. And just be a parent. That's all I can say. And I know, and if you're younger, I know that is a harder challenge because you want to live your life because you're young and everything. But just remember that child didn't ask to come here. So it's still your responsibility. Don't let the government get in your business.
Hmm.
Rich, rich. Well, and so I'll just say this, Joshua Generation, thank y'all very much for tuning in today, listening to this old Moses kind of rattle off and and do things. But thank y'all very much. God bless you.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care, and my blessings to your family. Hope y'all gave y'all wives a great Mother's Day this past week. So hopefully
Yeah,
that was
look,
well.
every day is Mother's Day.
There you go. There you go.
Shoot,
You're right. Take care.
shoot, we get one holiday